see if we can go all the way through a setup. Okay, it's linked up, has control. At the same time that you see the connect on there, the swash plate still does under 6.0 its traditional double pump. Enter the menu. First thing I'm going to go to is set up a new model. The first thing it's going to do to ask you, once you load 6.0 on here, it's going to automatically take you straight to the menu that I'm going to right now. My model has already been set up and flown good, but the screen that I'm going to go to will be the first one that you will see once you bind and go to program a new V-bar under 6.0. It will come up automatically to what is model setup. Once you come to model setup, what I'm going to go to down here is setup tools and Heli setup wizard. This will be what it automatically enters once you go past bind mode on the first time you bind this V-bar, once it's been updated. Okay, mine Raptor E700, and the reason is I've already set it up, but the first thing you're going to see is to choose your model. Since I'm not using a logo, I'm going to scroll past all of them, and I'm going to go to other Heli's setup. Now, I'm not going to do it now because I've already done this one. Select other Heli setup, and then I think it has all the sizes, 450, 500, 600, 700, 800. I just selected 700. I'm going to select exit and no changes for this time. Once you do that, I'll go to Heli Setup Wizard. Interest in one thing on here, until you turn the throttle hold on, it will not let you go in and begin to make decisions. Once I turn the hold, total switch to off.
Motor idle. Motor off.
Now, it lets me.
Idle.
I have to enter the true hold position. Once I do,
Motor idle.
it lets me in.
Motor off. Motor idle.
Once you're in, you can let go. Just select which way you want the sensor to face. Hit next. Select your swash plate. Now, on mine for the Raptor, it takes custom numbers. So you cannot put the numbers in yet. You have to select user defined. Once you select user defined, it's not going to let you give it the numbers here. We'll do it in another app called the free swash plate tool. I'll show you that in just a moment. But if you have a swash plate like the Raptor that's not a standard 120 and it's not listed in the other options they give you, just select user defined and it's going to let you choose anything that you want. Click next. Click whichever direction the rotor head rotates. Pretty simple. Leading edge or trailing edge control. This is the section where you can reverse the servos as they need be, and it will show you your CCPM as it has been selected. Now, interesting enough, on mine, I selected 270, 135, and 45. But I'll notice once I put the numbers in, once you get to the screen, it alters the numbers a little bit. It calls it 270, 136, and 43. That's not the numbers that I gave it, but that's what it automatically will do for geometry correction. So there's nothing you can do, just don't be alarmed when you see the numbers different and say, that's not what I put in. That's what it's doing. Next screen is to trim the swash plate, fore, aft, left, right, up and down, just like you done under 5.3. Next selection is positive collective. Move the stick all the way up, highlight the selection, put your pitch gauge on it, set the pitch to whatever you want. Mine's positive 13. Highlight the negative collective, put your pitch gauge on it. I set mine to negative 13. Mine's positive 13, 0 in the middle of the stick, negative 13 on the bottom for a linear setup. Cyclic value, same as always. Make the blades horizontal parallel with the boom, put your pitch gauge on it, set it for 8 degrees of cyclic, same as it was before. Tail rotor, select which tail rotor speed and hertz that you need. Select it for direction, just move it back and forth, make sure it's moving the right direction. Hold the stick to the left, set your left limit. Hold the stick to your right, set your right limit. Pretty self-explanatory. For governor, external governor means if you want to run the governor inside of the speed control, select that. If you want to run the V-bar governor, select it. I'm running V-bar governor. Once you do, tell it the sensor configuration number, tell it the gear ratio, the run-up limit. The default number is 3. The higher you raise the number, the quicker the initial spool up is. And the reason I raise the number a little bit, say, why don't you want a longer, smoother, soft start? Well, by raising the number a little bit, I still have a very smooth soft start, but that makes my bailout just a little bit quicker, and I like that, so that's why I raise it. The minimum throttle and auto rotation idle, whenever you go into bailout mode and the motor is spinning, still spinning slowly, and you're in bailout, auto rotation bailout, you can play with that number. If the motor is still spinning pretty high, bring it on down, raise the number a little bit, it'll slow it down. If the motor is spinning super slow and you want it a little bit higher to be easier on the gearing, when you re-engage it, raise that number. That just lets you play with, where it idles at. Minimum throttle, I know the Castle, like most speed controls, is looking for a negative 100, 0 to 100 throttle, so just leave it alone. They just allow you to use that number and move it up or down a little bit. If you had some particular speed control that liked a number higher or lower, it just lets you be able to play with it. One thing about this radio, you've definitely not lost any functionality over what V-bar was before. You've gained quite a bit. And that's all that there is. After that, come down to the next screen, what it calls common, and that's your flight timer. That works. You can set up your auto rotation bank. Bank 1 is here. Bank 2.
Bank 2. Bank 3.
And what that amounts to is
Bank 1.
you have 3 different banks, one for each of your flight modes. When you flip into auto rotation, the radio's asking you, which one of those banks do you want to use? Because I could have more agility in normal mode than I had in idle 1 or that I had in idle 2. It's just asking me, when you're in hold, which set of parameters of those 3, which one would you like to use? That's all that you have to tell it. Sensor direction. Now, underneath common and all main rotor and tail rotor and governor, each one of those things are just, I can go back in now and individually adjust each one of the steps that I just went through in the setup wizard. So that amounts to, after I set the heli up, I don't need to go back to the setup wizard. I can just go to the individual little part that I want to see again and edit it. Let's say for governor, I can go in here and select my endpoints, ESC endpoints, and by doing so, what it's going to do is it's like the Governor 2 tab used to be for V-bar Governor in 5.3, where you set the minimum and the maximum to get your speed control exactly dialed in and calibrated with the V-bar. Same exact thing here. I'm not going to enter the screen because I can't without a pack plugged in, but it works the exact same way. Nothing's changed. Come over to tail rotor. This is all the expert parameters. Just like it was under 5.3, set each one what you want it to be. Come back to main rotor, same thing. All the expert parameters like it was under 5.3. The style, the agility, the head gain. Just set each and every one of those things just like you would have under 5.3. Each one of the subheadings, if you ever have used a one of the old V-bar control panels, you'll be very familiar with the layout of this radio. It works the very same way. And then each and every time, you'll notice when I push the button, it goes right back to where I left off. So I don't have to go and dig back through submenus. Every time I hit it, I go right back to where I was. You can scroll all the way back to the top if you want to. Leave everything alone and just wait a second or two. And it will exit. The timer automatically works tied to the hold switch. So when I turn the hold switch off,
Motor on.
see the motor's running. You notice the timer started at the very same time. Anytime I stop the motor,
Motor idle.
I'm in bailout mode right now, but you'll notice it also stopped the timer. And if I flipped it one click further for a second in the hold,
Motor idle.
you'll notice it stayed in off, even though the switch was spring loaded and went back to auto rotation, went back to bailout mode. Once I flipped hold, it overrode everything. Really neat idea that Mikado did, in that they learned how to take a bailout switch and integrate it and just make one switch out of it. Very desirable, very nice. The whole time that you're seeing right here, those bars, that signals strength for the receiver and what you're getting. Receiver voltage is already there. Anytime that you want to know what's going on, I can flip this switch in flight.
Receiver 7.8 volt. Head speed 0 RPM.
And the head speed would be whatever I have set it to.
Receiver 7.8 volt. Head speed 0 RPM.
Of course, now to turn the radio off, I push it down and turn it. You'll notice, shut down first. It knows the model is still active. The radio won't even let me turn it off. Once I power the model off, it knows connection's been broken. Now it will let me power the radio off if I'd like to.